Yeah, I mean, there were obviously a lot of philosophical issues brought up in the first one about, life and death, and, it was a very extreme situation.
Right.
And I think where philosophy helped me out the most was filtering out what needed to be changed to get to Ramadi 2 and to change myself personally and my vision of where I wanted things to go. The second tour, the political economy major, definitely helped me out, which I never thought. I mean, when I was going through political economy at Georgetown, I was like, all right, I hope I remember one thing here because I'm not going to use this for the next 4 years of my life.
Right.
And I was so wrong. I mean, I'm calling, I'm looking at old textbooks, reading up. I'm like, damn it, why did I not pay attention in that class? Damn me. So.
And then what about the new concept of infantry?
Yeah. And this goes back to everything, to everything's building upon each other, but here's the new concept of infantry is, and it's not new, and I do want to stress this, none of this is new, and if you look back to the Small Wars Manual of like 1910, I think it is, like this is all written about. So like me coming up with A-teams, like I didn't come up with this shit, like I'm not that smart, but I was able to look back at previous things and say, okay, this might have worked, this didn't, and we can pull this from the past and use it again. Like the new infantryman, which is not new at all, it's more of a cyclical thing, is a full spectrum warrior. And Kurlak was talking about this, with the 3-block war and all that. But yeah, in the mid-90s. But I think it's more than just a 3-block war, because in that first block of where it's very low intensity conflict, not only is that Marine, maybe he's in Dusky or whatever, just patrolling the streets, but that Marine is also handling fuel. He's also handling electricity, and so he's working outside of his MOS. So just because it says 03, it doesn't mean, I'm just going to pull the trigger. The benefit is, and why I think it's a new vision of infantry, and this is why I was kind of taking jabs at state, is the state guys won't hit the streets. They just won't do it. For whatever reason. I mean, they're not trained to do it. It's frankly not their job to do it, and maybe someone needs to address that at some point, but it's not addressed yet. Grunts, that's what we do. I mean, we go to the front line. We're going to engage local people. So if that's our job, if we're in Africa and we're going to be in these little villages, like, why not be well-versed in all these different facets? Because we're the only ones who can reach out and touch people, either with our weapons or with our civil military operations. So it's grunts, especially grunts, are afforded a special opportunity in that we're light infantry. We don't require that much to kind of be out. We're self-reliant a lot of the time within a battalion, and if we do it correctly within a community, we can become self-reliant. And we can take our war-fighting abilities that allow us to be, more confident, to be secure in an unsecure environment, and use that to kind of do, I don't want to say State Department role, but definitely a CMO kind of role. So.
Okay. And then the next topic is the war via proxy.
Yeah, and we talked about micro, but the micro level is I never had to pull the trigger. My Marines never had to pull the trigger once, and they just didn't because the IPs were doing it for them, and it was much cleaner. I'm sure it wasn't cleaner in reality, but in terms of a typical TTP was insurgent or terrorist, fires from a local girls' school a few rounds, and Marines fire back into the school. Okay, and what I told my men is, unless you are in imminent danger, I mean, unless your ACOG is on someone and you are 100% sure that guy is going to kill you, I'm saying if he's running away, let him get away. It's fine. But unless he's going to kill you, don't worry about it. because the fact of the matter is, the IPs are going to get them, and they're going to get them faster than you are. And we were talking about, you know, shot to hit ratio for a Marine. I'm not going to go into numbers, but it could be all over the place. For an IP, it's much higher because he's acquired the target from like 3 feet away. And so that either means more detentions or, depending on what kind of situation he's in, it can mean, you know, more accurate hits in the traditional sense. So it was interesting on the security front how little we saw what was going on. We just hear about it like, oh yeah, we caught this guy, and we'll get into that next. But it was different. Now that's micro level. At the macro level, I think at a geopolitical stage, it was interesting. You know, working with these Iraqis, and now you have foreign fighters coming into the city from various countries, and you know, I don't have good enough picture to speak intelligently about this, but I mean, everyone knows Iran is playing crooked hand. You know, Syria for a while wasn't helping things out. So, you know, I think Iraq is interesting because we're already at war with Iran. It's called Iraq. I mean, and so we're using Iraq to kind of play our hands without actually showing our hands. And so I think the whole thing is via proxy, and I do find it interesting, and I think that's why there's so much at stake for both countries. So I think it plays big and small.
Did you have any knowledge of Iran or Iranians in your area of operations that you encountered?
I didn't the second time. The first time, you know, that's not true. The second time maybe, but the second time it was hard because you can't bring up Iran with an Iraqi, with a Ramadian at least, because, well, I mean, I did it often, but I did it when I was at a standstill with a contract and we weren't getting anywhere. So I said, Ajims, which is a very bad slur for Iranians. Or I just say, what do you think about the Iranians? And, you know, that's a 5-hour conversation about why they hate Iran so much. So, and then we'd laugh about, you know, Iran, and then we'd go back to talking about the contract.
Why do the Iraqis hate Iran so much? I mean,
well, I mean, who doesn't? No. No. I have lots of Persian friends. Let's not go there.
Professor Rahim, he sat down with me for an hour or two about
Yeah.
how much they hate the Iranians from the Iran-Iraq war.
Yeah, I mean,
And they claim that they beat them.
Well, look, yeah, we can go into this. They claim a lot of things, so.
Very good.